This is an interesting thing, Dixon. Like, one of the biggest takes I've seen is I've lost all my card draw.
Yes.
And I put a poll up in Discord saying, Lucius players, I'm really like, on average, how many cards do you think you drew a turn playing with your Lucius of choice, whether it's Lucius 1 or Lucius 2? And the overwhelming response was 5 to 6. And I've done that very specifically ahead of this episode. And just bear that number in mind, and we'll come back to it at the end.
Okay. I mean, granted, I think flexible morality is significantly better. There's like a bunch of things in this card that is like better. But that hurting, I don't think the number of cards that you're losing is probably closer to like 2 to 3.
Yeah.
Because of the so the legalese upgrades, they have card draw in them to the listener.
Let's start with the upgrades. You've led me on to exactly where I want to. Let's start with the upgrades. So
significantly more important.
Both Luciuses and the Scribe have an ability, and they're all different on all of them, to hand out an upgrade which looks like this. Which, if you're here in chat with Patreon or Dixon, you can see. It says sign on the dotted line at the start of this model's activation. It may remove a friendly scheme marker within 3-inch aura. If it does so, flip the upgrade attached to it. And there are 5 options. You can only use one of those options once a turn. If for whatever reasons you duplicate it, the second attempt fails. And all of them have some form of card draw built into them, whether it's the greased palms abilities that's on 4 out of the 5 cards, or which flips a card, or if it's the raising my rates one, which flips 2 cards and then discards a card. You're getting some card draw, and this is, I think, what people are going to be focused on as the principal new card draw mechanic in Mimic Elite. Spoiler alert, I think they're wrong. So getting upgrades out, flipping upgrades, will do what the upgrade says, which is very cool. They're all very cool. I like them a lot, especially one of them. And then there are then a number of other models within the keyword which get a benefit if a legalese upgrade has been flipped. Does that make sense? Yep.
I mean, to me it does, but like to the listener, basically you get hidden agenda but on crack. It's gonna take a while to get used to it because there's nothing like this in the game. Just know that it triggers off of removing a scheme marker, a friendly scheme marker specifically.
Has to be a friendly scheme marker,
and it's within Aura 3. So if you see a friendly to them, obviously a friendly scheme marker to them within 3 inches in line of sight of them, know that some shenanigans are about to happen, and a card draw is usually attached to it.
That's it. You're at least getting one card. And I think people are going to sit down and they're going to, like, math-fo, how do I get 3 to 4 upgrades flipped to turn so that I'm drawing 3 to 4 cards? Realistically, I think you're looking at 1 to 2. Because there is nothing more OP than VP, and scheme markers are a significant way of scoring VP in this game. So at some point, you're going to have diminishing returns, desperately trying to flip legalese upgrades, as opposed to scoring points. And you want to be scoring points.
That is true. I forgot about that loop. The gaming loop, in this case, would be you'd be down at least 1 times models. Dang, that's like 10 scheme markers. Across the game. I'm talking about across the game.
Yeah. There is a real balance between getting your scheme markers out to score points and getting your scheme markers to flip legalese upgrades.
Yeah.
And points take priority. They have to, because points is how you win the game.
Yeah, VPs take
nothing
priority.
more OP than VP. But very quickly, just to touch on what all of the flipped upgrades are. You have Ambulance Chaser, which after this upgrade flips, push this model up to its movement towards a friendly model or friendly scheme marker in line of sight. I love this because I've played against your Lucius one, and I know that you name your lawyers after ambulance chasing law firms.
Yes.
So there's a nice. There you go. So there's a nice little nod to, like, we did it, Dixon. There you go. Like, Ambulance Chaser is officially on the card. Love that one. Raising My Rates. I think this is probably one that I will aim to use most because it's flip, draw 2 cards, discard a card.
Yep.
More card draw, more better.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to skip that one. Jury Tampering. After this upgrade flips to this side, enemy models within a 3-inch pulse gain distracted +1. Cool. If it's relevant, that's good. You know, I think that's quite a situational one, but a useful one.
Yeah, very situational.
Especially when combined with the new Mimic keyword rule. I think that's that can be a great way of controlling the brawl in the center.
Yep.
Smoking Gun. After this model resolves an attack action that damaged an enemy model, it may discard a card. If it does so, drop a scheme mark into base contact with a friendly, elite, or Mimic model in line of sight that has not already been chosen for this effect, this activation. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to maximize it on either Lucius 2 or a fast Agent 46 or a White Eyes. Just, you know, because 3 attacks is 3 scheme markers, which is better than 2 attacks and 2 scheme markers.
I was trying to think of like if there was anybody better, but like Doppleganger lost her ability to like be stat ridiculous, so it really does come down to Agent 46, White Eyes, which I am very, very happy about the changes to this model. It's actually incredible.
White Eyes is a model now, my guy.
It is. Like, by far, it's like one of the best glow ups. And obviously, we're going to talk about Lucius 2, but I think Lucius 2 also is better, which is, I know that's a hot take, because like I've heard of
that is a hot take. That is worse.
A hot take. So it's like, I don't know. I think because the thing is that by the way, I took time to like say how many like scheme markers you put out, and you kind of get like between 5 to 7 scheme markers basically for free with the way that the crew works, not accounting for false claim or just interacting. Just like Lucius 2 has planning ahead, and planning ahead is now worst, but the fact is Lucius 1 has that, and he is the very scheme heavy master from range. I don't know if you would agree with that.
Yes. Yeah. We'll come on to Lucius and Lucius 2 very shortly.
Yeah, but you want to go and say that disgusting last upgrade that can make a.
But let us talk about Take the Stand. This is
this is a weird one, because like the thing is, it's better if you don't bring certain models, because then your 4-point model becomes that model.
Like, so what this does?
Please explain to the listeners what it has.
As well as letting you draw a card, it's got 2 abilities, and basically there's a lot of text. But what they say is, the model that you have, replace it with any Mimic non-master, elite or Mimic. Sorry, I thought it was just Mimic. No, it's elite or Mimic.
No, it's anything on the keywords. Yeah.
Say again, buddy.
It's anything on the keywords. Like, it's like it's so.
Name a non-master or elite Mimic model, replace it, do your activation, then heal, turn back into your original form, heal 2, and away you go.
Yep.
Now there is
and
some
the specification saying if it cannot be replaced, it is killed. That is normal, because like there are really rare occurrences where you have something like Gravity Well. That's the main reason why they have that tagline. It's just to clear up any, problems.
Sure. But I think if they've got Gravity Well, then you wouldn't be using Take the Stand anyway, just because you wouldn't be able to turn into anything. What this means is you can take a model with a Legalese upgrade, turn it into anything else in your keyword for 1 activation. So if you're at a point where you're just like, I wish I'd taken Klaus so that I could dig that 13 of crows out of my discard bin, you can. Equally, if you like, I wish I had a second beta. I've gone for one of my keywords beaters, but I don't have the other one. I wish I had him just for 1 activation. You can. And you can put this on a changeling, sidekick 12 inches next to someone with a scheme marker, turn into something, and then turn back into your changeling. Is real good. And it's particularly good, I think, with White Eyes. But I'll come on to why when we talk about White Eyes.
I think it's incredibly good with any Mimic. in my opinion.
Say that again. You're breaking up quite a lot, buddy, but say that again.
Yeah, my internet, man. But yeah, I think it's just incredibly good with any mimic. Like, I think this is a mimic thing. Yeah.
Yes, and it's very fluffy, and I love that. Cool. Let's talk about Lucius. First thing I want to touch on is there's been a significant quality of life change for the Mimic Elite player, and that is with the way Mimic Elite was previously. They had 4 different rules for putting their opponent on a neg flip when you attack them, be that manipulative, serene countenance, flexible morality, or intimidating authority. This is too many rules that do the same thing. And that's now just become a flat, flexible morality across the board. After an enemy model targets this model with an attack action, the enemy model must either discard a card or suffer a negative to its duel. I love this. I just love that they've massively simplified it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lucius has gained Lucius 2's I'm going to drop a scheme marker within 12 inches every start phase. That's amazing. That wins games. But they have lost the ability to gain a free suit off it, which I think is a fair trade.
I don't know. Because I think
like,
this version of Lucius is still very weak. It's actually weaker now because before you could obey friendly minions, now you can't even do that.
Oof, I'm going to disagree with you on that one, and I will come on to why.
I guess so.
They've lost the pass token thing. Fine, like not the end of the world, and they've lost subterfuge, and I think that's a bit of a shame. I would have liked to have seen him keep subterfuge, but he hasn't got it, so don't worry about it. There's no point crying about it. Arcane Reservoir, great. Cutting words. He has a melee action. You play Pandora, you know how bad it can be when a master doesn't have a melee action. Just having a melee action is good as far as I'm concerned, because it means he has engagement range. Gather intel. It's not a thing that I like to see on a master. Of just like using an AP to push models around on a master doesn't feel great, but good lord, that tome trigger.
No, okay. Why they had to put it on him, I get it, but it also means that basically you're doing bonus action first into gather intel with a stone, usually.
Say that again, buddy. You broke up.
Well, over here, basically, issue command into gather intel with the upgrade, usually netting at least 1 soulstone out of you. You don't think so?
I'm sorry, mate. I can't hear you.
Oh, one more time. Issue command into gather intel. Both of them with a trigger that you might want might net at least 1 soulstone out of you.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. No, I get you. But I think according to the plan, as a tome trigger on Gather Intel is tremendous value. And it's only a 5 of tomes. So you should, with your card draw, be able to dig for it. I'm not sure I'd spend a stone on it, but pushing a model forward, it's 5 inches... Giving it shielded 2 and focus 1, I think is pretty good. And then, yes, you're absolutely right. His fast action, issue command, this is how he now bosses people around, which is, and also is the way that he gives them the legalese upgrade.
But no more minions. But no more minions.
Yes, so you can't take a Guardian out of keyword, which was one of the things I liked to do with Lucius 1.
Or
and
a mature Nephilim.
Very, very rare. Or a mature Nephilim. You raise a very good point as the never-born Lucius player. But the fact that crow trigger is, you could take an action and then take an interact action. So that can be a walk and an interact, which is quite nice. You've got the mask trigger for doing it again. So you're getting 2 legalese upgrades out, which is really nice.
Yep.
But the big thing on his card for me is Subpoena, which has replaced Hidden Sniper, which is a 6-inch range, stat 6 versus willpower. Most of Mimic Elite attack willpower now, which is really nice. Does 2/3/3 damage, which don't care about. What I care about are the 3 really, really good triggers on it. One is built in, which is summons. Once per turn, place the target into base contact with the model from which the range and line of sight were drawn, because you can draw this from any Elite or Mimic model. Right. That's cool. Draw out secrets. That's cool because we need scheme markers. Great. We know this. But the big one for me is the Crow trigger, missing
Yep.
forms. Until the end phase, the target may not take the interact action.
No
Cool.
TN.
Cloak and Dagger, stuff that... No TN. Like, Cloak and Dagger, stuff the ballots, you can't play.
Yeah.
Like, just shuts down 2 strategies, which is really, really nice. I think Lucius 1 has a real denial play style in just terms of that you've got a Changeling 20 inches away from Lucius, but it's within 6 inches of a willpower 4 schema that opponent has run unaccosted down a flank to score on ballot. Not anymore.
You can't even steal in Cloak and Dagger. You can't.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're right on like that is literally where most of his value is on missing forms. Also is a little bit of a shame because Neverborn doesn't have that many tanky options because we don't have Letline Coat. So we're like relying almost 100% on White Eyes, and that's it. Or I guess also on what's his face, Klaus, and that's we're hoping that they survive. But in Guild, holy crap, is this gonna be abused? And I guess you know exactly why, because like you can put Letline Coat on your 2 beefiest models, like White Eyes.
Yep. Yeah, it's like. I wouldn't play Lucius in Raid the Vault. I'll be honest. I'm not sure I'd play either Lucius on Raid the Vault, but
right.
I think both Guild and Neverborn have got better options there anyway.
Yeah.
But so realistically, I'm looking at Cloak, Stuff the Ballots, and the other one that's completely escaped my mind, Plant Explosives. And Subpoena can just shut down all 3 of those strategies because you have to interact to drop your bomb, you have to interact to vote, you have to interact to grab an intel marker or interact with a Cloak and Dagger marker. Like, yes, it's not built in, but you've got stones. You need to use them for something, and just this, you can just stop your opponent scoring their strategy on the last turn, which that can be the difference between winning and losing. Him good.
I mean, no, I'm not against what you're saying. I'm just like trying to figure out is there anything here that I'm like happy or excited about? And honestly, it's just the Legalese upgrade. That's it. I just want to see if it works the way that I think it's going to work.
Yeah, I mean, he is the Legalese upgrade master for handing them out,
and to make them work.
Yeah,
because planning ahead actually basically makes it happen. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, very much so. So I definitely think that Lucius 1's power has come up. I do think that Lucius 2 power has come down slightly, but I'm okay with that. Obviously, planning ahead has gone away. But he's kept Ruthless. He's kept Flexible Morality. He's gained Fistful of Script so that every time he kills a model, he drops a scheme marker. This is how... And he's gained...
My personal favorite, personal exception. He's gained an upgrade.
He gains an upgrade every single turn. Now, none of these... So his playstyle is still going to be pretty much the same. He's still going to secret passes into your back line. He's still going to murder your support models. But when he does so, he's going to drop a scheme marker. And he can either use that scheme marker to score with, or he can use it to flip his Legalese marker, his Legalese upgrade the next turn, which if he does, his attack gains pos flips to damage. So rather than having the stagger interaction that he had previously, it's now if any model has flipped a Legalese upgrade, he gains pos flips to damage. And there's a few of these models scattered throughout the keyword. The Scribe has something, the Lawyer has something, Agent 46 has something, and Doppleganger has something which triggers off the Legalese flipping. And this is the other reason why I think you want to be aiming for like 1 to 2 upgrades flipping a turn, because half the time I think the benefit of flipping an upgrade is what it does to turn these models on, and you only need 1 for that. So if you're flipping 2 to 3, you're putting effort in for diminishing returns effectively.
So I mean, that means it's even worse card draw than we assumed before, which we talked about in the beginning. But I also want to clarify, his game loop is significantly different because Secret Passage doesn't give out stagger anymore, and that was a thing that you could do before, is you could just jump in the middle of like 2 to 3 models, give them all stagger, and then get out of there. And that alone made it
fair.
Like, I did that a couple of times, and then just continued on to like somewhere else to like drop a scheme marker, because you don't have to kill people. That was like the big thing about him before.
That you raise a very fair point. Is that whilst that stagger pulse did turn on Dagger-like Claw, stagger itself is still a very real condition.
Yes.
And he's lost that trigger, and that's probably the trigger I stoned for most with Lucy 2.
Correct.
And it's not been replaced anything. I would have liked to have seen a sudden strike on a ram there, so that he got an additional attack. But equally, I can see why he hasn't. He's lost his coordinated strike trigger, which I know you will feel deeply because that's your favourite thing in the world.
He gained it somewhere else, but yes.
He's got it on down the wrong path.
Yes.
But no, Dagger-like Claw is still the same 2-3-5. You're getting a pos flip from flipping an upgrade. You've still got the ability to ignore hard to kill and demise. You've still got the ability to crit strike. You're probably not getting as much crit strike as you did before, because you can't place the scheme marker and claim a free ram off it like you did before. And this is why I think Lucy 2 has come down just a little bit. Is there's a couple of little changes in the way that he works. So you can still hit like min 4 damage with him comfortably because he's a master and you've got cards.
Yeah.
But not quite as comfortably as before.
So
also down the... Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, I am aiming now with this model to jump in on somebody and doing about 6 damage with a severe and taking out a support model, because now it automatically drops a scheme marker and another type of marker. So you can play the scheme game by assassinating their support. You don't have to go toe-to-toe with anything big. And I believe there's a huge value there.
Yeah, don't if you're playing against this, don't leave your squishy support models in scoring positions.
Correct.
It's like,
because he'll just jump in,
be a scheme marker
kill
very quickly.
Them. Yeah, kill them. There's a scheme marker now, and then the scheme marker can mean something. Because like, I can definitely see this model just like, I kill a totem, there's a scheme marker. I charge, I kill a 6-point model or a 5-point model that was like doing something important. I drop another scheme marker. I teleport out because, that's a thing that I can do. And then, or I can stay there. I don't care. Like, you have to kill as a defense 6, so you have to discard a card or get negatives to attack. And the point that I'm talking about all this is that's the scheme that you have to have 2 scheme markers within 2 inches of somebody important, or 3 inches. You know what I'm talking about?
Ensnare?
Ensnare.
Deliver a message?
Ensnare. Ensnare is the one. But like, yeah, that's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. Lucius can now do a bunch of different schemes just by killing random small models.
Yeah, and like Fistful of Script isn't once per activation.
That's exactly why.
It's entirely... which perhaps didn't come up a lot on Parker Barrows, but will come up a lot with Lucy.
Yep.
There's a slight... I don't know if I'd call it a nerf, but it is a slight nerf with Down the Wrong Path, because you used to be able to down the wrong path people into you, and then Lucy would get a free attack. So you could move enemy models and then kill them where you wanted to kill them. Now, rather, it's been reworded so that you can use it on friendlies, which is actually genuinely useful, but it has a coordinated attack trigger built in, but now you can't use it to get another attack out of Lucy. It does now have drop a schema. It does have draw out secrets. It does have some condition removal and some healing built into it. So I think it's still a very useful action. It's just not going to be... You're going to use it on other models rather than using it for Lucy, which is fine. And then he's got peak efficiency, which ignores range and line of sight, which is brilliant because Lucy will be off doing his own thing. Other friendly elite or mimic takes a fast action, and then you can either heal them or give them an upgrade. And I think this is really interesting because Lucy 1 makes them take a non-fast action, and Lucy 2 makes them take a fast action, and then they can both slap an upgrade on, or in Lucy 2's cases heal. I quite like this because this means I can target Alan Reid, make him put up boring conversation out of activation,
That. Oh my god.
So I don't have to, because one of the things, I love Alan. I'm an unapologetic Alan stan. But sometimes he can mess with your activation aura because you want boring conversation up aura as quickly as possible, and sometimes you need to go with Lucy 2 to murder a threat before it has the opportunity to. Now I can have both.
Yeah. Well, not only do you get both, you also don't need line of sight. That is insane.
Plus, with Down the Wrong Path, I can, if I want, and I'm not saying this is a good idea, I'm saying it's a thing you can do, and I think it's hilarious. I can target Alan Reid, give him an upgrade, make him put a boring conversation, and then I can just push him 15 inches into my opponent's crew and drop a scheme marker next to him on the last one, so that when he activates, he can flip his legalese upgrade, turn into White Eyes, savage the crap out of people, and then turn back into Alan Reid. I'm not saying that's good. I'm saying it's funny.
That is funny.
It is an option. That is literally a thing that you can do. So but it is worth noting there is a bone of contention that when Alan turns back into Alan, he is a new Alan, so boring conversation wouldn't be up at that point, which is why I don't think it's a good thing to do. If it was the same Alan and boring convo was still up, there would be corner cases where that would be a funny thing to do. But yeah, I think Lucy 1's come up in power level, but Lucy 2 has come down just a tad, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm still, if I was someone that played Lucius 2 exclusively, I only got one game in a month, and I can go to my gaming club and I can still do kind of the same things that I did before, which I like.
I can tell you that I played this model heavily for like last year's GG3 for Houston, and I was like almost tempted to play him in every single GG. That's how ridiculous it was, and I ended up like because he himself is very powerful, and I'm looking at the things that they changed about him, and yeah, you're right, it is different. But I saw Fistful of Script, and I saw that he can still draw cards and stuff without having to like actually have to like force other models to do anything. And I'm just like, man, and I was mad at first when I saw peak efficiency change. I was like, oh, it's only bonus action? That's some bull crap. What good bonus actions do we have? And I started looking around. I was like, oh, never mind. They're really good. All of them. Yeah. It's like
that's some really good ones.
Okay.
That's some really good ones.
Yeah, because like the thing is, one of the best things about that is that you can do triggers. So you can do triggers. Yeah, granted, you have to like flip a freaking 4. So like there's that rare occurrence where you have to like put 2 cards for this. But like most of these people don't need more than a 4 or 5, except for Alan. But Alan is special.
Yeah, he is. And I think Lucy's, like, going back to the upgrades, I think Lucy 2 is the one where you put Smoking Gun on to discard a card to make scheme markers fall out of friendlies. Equally, I think the Ambulance Chaser one to give him extra movement is really, really good.
Yeah.
I don't think you're ever putting Take the Stand on him because you don't want him to turn into anything else. He's perfect the way he is.
Yeah.
Maybe you go with Raising My Rates because you get some extra card draw and some card cycling just before you go in for that assassination run. But probably you're not putting... Then you might be putting Jury Tampering out for the Distracted. I'm not sure. But I think, I'm pretty happy.
We're talking like,
happy with this
it's going to be like, oh, he's surrounded, and you want to do something silly before he flips out. Like, oh, I'm going to leave, but by the way, all of you are distracted. And then he just jumps out.
And perhaps it's that's replacing the Staggered Pulse. I don't think it's as good as a Staggered Pulse, but it's that similar kind of...
Yes.
Deuces, I'm out. Like,
I don't want to... deny what you said about Surprise Witness, the Take the Stand one where you replace, except that you can technically use it to heal yourself.
That is true, but you do lose a master level activation.
I'm just saying, like, it's like it's possible. I'm not saying you want to.
It is possible.
It. You can actually.
There
heal.
may well be situations.
Yeah.
Where that is needed. I think you probably, if you're desperately in need of healing at that point to avoid, I don't know, like assassinations back in the pool, and this is the last activation, of turn 5. I think
he's stunned and slow, that's a thing too.
Yeah, because you can't down the wrong path yourself, because it's an attack action for the healing. So
right.
yeah, like it's an option, and it's always good to have options. I don't know how often that option comes up, but it's nice to have it.
Yep, true.
Let's talk about the Scribe.
He got busted down to scrub. That's so Saiyan.
Well, I think you just kind of have to look at it as he's a completely different model, because I get what you're saying. Like, he's lost his fade away. He no longer buries. He no longer reduces damage. It's not built, and that was built in. It was insane. He doesn't heal Lucius when he pops back up.
He doesn't heal and give focus to all friendly models within 2 inches.
These are big things.
Humongous.
However, also, he lost probably the most aggressively statted Dispel Magic on a totem in the game.
Yes.
That was stat 6.
Yes.
That is one of the most common things I have ever done with him.
Yes.
But all of that is true. He is now a significant model with Sidekick. That
is the only thing that makes me not hate him. Literally, that is literally the only thing that makes me not hate him. It's like, okay, now you actually are an Earl.
You can score points.
Yeah. Oh my god, you're Earl.
And
crap.
Yeah, exactly. And how everyone hates Earl Burns, you're gonna hate the Scribe just as much.
Yeah, I don't say crap as in I think he's crap. I said crap as in I have to play him like
oh
Earl.
God damn it!
Exactly.
I actually have to deal with this model. He still has the betrayal aura. Like he still has that betrayal aura. He now has leading the witness, so that he can move a target 6 inches towards a ski marker in line of sight. That's cool.
Important. It says move, so you can go around things.
Yeah,
it's very important.
You can go around things. You can leave engagements. Like that's a real ability. It needs a 5 to go off. You can use it on both enemies and friendlies.
Yep.
Sharpen Quills remains exactly the same. So what? He's still got I've got your back, but he's gained 2 very good triggers in Mend to heal the target 2 and preparations to give them focused. He can hand out upgrades. So this is an
important thing. You can give this model suits, because this is a new ability that they added to the guild side of the elite mimics. So basically, there's a good number of elite models that have co-conspirator. If a model flipped an upgrade this turn, you can choose a suit, but it's the start of this model's activation. So unfortunately, I think the timing makes it so that you can't flip it with him, right, and he would get the suit.
If another model, it very specifically states if another friendly model has flipped a Legalese upgrade this turn, choose a suit. Now, this is interesting because he himself hands out upgrades.
Yes.
So you immediately think, I want him to go early in the turn so that he's handing out upgrades. But he benefits if we're going later in the turn because upgrades have already been flipped. So this is a little bit of an activation order puzzle, but it's a considerably smaller activation order puzzle than the keyword as a whole used to be.
Actually,
before, and I think.
I was gonna say, like, the puzzle is not. It's different. He has to be played like a completely different model, whereas before you could be more aggressive because fadeaway existed. Now psychic, a mix between psychic and elite decree makes it so that in the beginning, and leading the witness, those 3 abilities specifically, those 3 things. Leading the witness makes it so that early in the game, like turn 1, you're moving your beaters up into position, especially if you already have a ski marker out. But it doesn't have to be a ski marker of your own because it doesn't say friendly. So,
correct.
Yeah, you have to keep that in mind. And then Psychic makes it so that late, like turn 3, if he's somehow still alive, you can then jump into the fray and then do shenanigans, which is important because this model, like, he still matters. Now that most models, including himself, have flexible morality, it makes betrayal that much of a layer. It actually matters even more.
And I think flexible morality, and to a lesser extent human physiology, inhuman physiology, which we'll come on to when we talk about the mimics.
Yeah.
I think both of these abilities, if your opponent really wants to kill a model, they're going to put the resources in and they're going to really kill the model. Like flexible morality and inhuman physiology are not going to keep you alive if your opponent wants to pour the necessary resources into doing it. But they have to pour the necessary resources into doing it. And I think where both of these like keyword defensive abilities are good is, whilst they're not going to keep that model that your opponent really wants to focus on alive, it's going to do a really good job of blocking like the incidental attacks where your opponent just goes, well, I've got a spare AP.
Yeah,
I'm going to shoot a gun at you.
I mean, let's get into Inhuman Physiology real fast since you mentioned it.
Okay, let me bring it up on screen for our benefit.
Yeah, because I think what you just said is very important. I think it's going to be very, very important for people to realize these models are not unkillable. They're just harder to kill. Inhuman Physiology changes the math a lot because now, say you have a straight flip because of just like the difference between 1 and 6, right? It's like, oh, it's 6 or more, blah, blah, blah. If this model, say you flip the Black Joker and they have like an 11 plus and they would have a plus flip on damage, you can stone and put them at a negative because enemy models ignore all positives.
Yes.
So they don't exist.
I think, and that's going to be great for, and I think you've highlighted my personal opinions on Inhuman Physiology quite well, is that it is good.
Yeah.
It is okay in conjunction with something else. So
I mean, it's strictly better
if you're
hard to wound.
I think it's half to wound rather than hard to
Really?
wound. I think it's because hard to wound will put my opponent on a neg. Inhuman Physiology is going to put them on a straight. They can still cheat.
No.
But if they're distracted,
wait.
if they're concealed,
why do you think that? Because like the thing is, the positives don't exist.
The positives don't exist. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, focus doesn't exist for this model at all.
So let's take the example you gave. I
flip
flipped the Black Joker on the fence.
Right. And
my opponent flips enough that normally would give them a pause.
Correct.
They are returned to a straight, so they can still cheat.
And then you hit a soul stone, and now there are negatives.
If I'm a stone user, if I'm a henchman or a master.
Well, we're talking about 46 right now, but yes, you are absolutely correct. Which is the reason why I love the fact that... I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, no, my thing was going to say White Eyes. White Eyes has hard to wound for that reason alone.
White Eyes has hard to wound. White Eyes also has defense 4. Like the Doppleganger, the Changelings,
yes.
like the Changelings, both the Changelings and the Doppleganger lost manipulative for Inhuman Physiology, and I'm not sure that that's a good thing.
Really?
For them. I think it's a good thing for the keyword and for learning a new keyword and for mental bandwidth and all that sort of stuff. Okay. But where I think Inhuman Physiology is what Inhuman Physiology needs on non-Soulstone using models is for your opponent to be distracted. Well, we've seen ways of putting out distracted. That's good. Or for you to be in concealment. And that's either going to be through hard skill, through your play and moving your models around in the board in such a fashion that they are protected by concealment.
Right. Or
it's going to be on things within your keyword handing them concealment, and we'll come to that later. So yeah, both Inhuman Physiology and and Flexible Morality are good, but they're better when it's a layered defense. But that's true of everything. Like, everything's better in a layered defense.
But I think the fact that like the two beaters have basically higher survivability now, especially in Guild, because in Guild, Agent 46 is going to be 11 points. 100%. You're going to put the upgrade on him, and he's just going to be nasty.
Let's talk about Agent Fasty 6.
Why? Really?
This is really interesting because I frequently talk about Lucius in your Discord, and it's literally as soon as anyone mentions Lucius, like an alarm goes off, and I have to run to the internet and talk about him. And one of the things we were talking about this week was his survivability and how bad Defense 5 is on a 9 Soulstone model.
Right.
Here we are. Straight away, he's Defense 6. That's phenomenal. He's still got Ruthless. He's swapped Disguised for Stealth. Sorry, swapped Stealth for Disguised. And this just kind of brings him in line with the rest of the Mimics, which I think is fine. He's got Inhuman Physiology rather than Flexible Morality, so he's more Mimic than he is Elite, which is weird because he's more Guild than he is Neverborn, but there we go.
Yes.
And following orders has been rewritten so that at the start of this model's activation, if another friendly model has flipped a Legalese upgrade, this model gains fast. Now, we talked about half an hour ago about how I like 9 Soulstone Beaters to have 3 AP. There's my 3rd AP. Very happy.
I mean, he has more than 3 AP if you look at his triggers, but yeah.
And then, yeah, that's before you get to the triggers. He's still maintained the Twirling Blades 245, or the Student Damage Track as it's known in my meta, and he's got 4 phenomenal triggers in Crit Strike, Execute, Draw Out Secrets, and Cruelty. So once per turn, take this action again.
Yep.
So hopefully, and he is a henchman, so you can make this happen. You're getting 4 attacks out of him. That's real good. Analyze Weakness has gone up to stat 7, which is cool. And he's kept the On Your Heels trigger. I like this. I probably will never take it in activation, but Lucy 1 can make him analyze weakness outside of activation on your heels to a target.
Yes.
And then that target doesn't have armor or shielded. That's real good. He has Mimic.
It's important for the listeners to know that both of these masters have ways to get you to do an action that can allow for triggers. That is huge.
Yes. That's very big. Mimic, I know there's a lot of talk, and this is where I sort of tend to disagree with folks about Mimic and using it with Agent 46. Agent 46 attack is absolutely fine. It's a real good attack.
Yeah.
That said, if Archie's on the board, I'm probably taking his attack. Just because min 3 is good. But the fact that his Mimic has a ram trigger that I can build in to give the target adversary without them getting a flip in reverse is real good.
Uncontested adversary is always good.
So on a 6 of rams, I'm then doing hopefully 4 attacks into you on a pos flip. I will... Oh, that model's dead.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Well, Agent 46 has gone from a model that I haven't built to a model I need to build now.
And we have to be also a little bit clear. This model is min damage 2, but he has critical strike as an option, and he is 4/5 for moderate and severe. 4/5 is huge. Like I think
the maths is, and one of my co-hosts on Flip Flopping Fly would be able to tell me better than this because he's the one that does all like the crazy data analysis. I think he says neg flip damage hits moderate damage 33% of the time.
Yeah, it is about a third of the time. Yes, that is absolutely correct.
So having mod 4 is great. I love 245. I think that's a great damage track because it rewards investment with focus, and also whilst it's not probable, it's not impossible either to hit those 4s.
And by the way,
yeah, I think Agent 46 got a hell of a glow up.
The thing I love that the ad was the draw secrets, because draw secrets again, something that the listener should know, does not care about enemy. You can hit your own models, and since he only does 2 damage,
that's very true.
Don't forget, hit your own models to drop scheme markers. You can charge.
And this keyword hands out a lot of shielded, and of course lead-lined coat is a thing.
Yes, all of that is true.
So realistically, that could be 1 or no damage. That's very true. I'd not considered that.
It is super important that people forget, hey, draw secrets. You can shoot your own models. I do it all the time. All the time.
Draw out secrets is a thing. Draw out secrets is a thing. Right, I'm going to move on from Agent 46 just because I'm aware we've been talking for nearly an hour and a half.
I mean, we have... Basically, the general gist of it was actually more important, which was most models got flexible morality, right? And we can still talk about like the important aspects. We don't have to go model for model, but like the feeling.
No.
Like for example, Alan Reid, in my opinion, he just got better because he got streamlined. What do you think? Also, he has a melee attack.
I think he got better because he's got a 2-inch melee. He's not just got a melee attack. He's got a 2-inch melee.
That's true. We should verify. We should specify that verbal abuse is now an attack, and it is awesome.
But yeah, verbal, It's a 2-inch engagement with a 2/3/4 damage track. It still has the +1 damage for each of the crew's revealed schemes, which means potentially, like, he's a min-4 beater, targeting willpower.
He didn't, before it was revealed, either discard 2 cards or tell me one of your schemes.
It was unrevealed schemes.
Yeah,
and now it's...
This is hilarious, because technically speaking, this is the first min-6 damage. Well, is it the first? I mean, he's a min-6 damage if all schemes are revealed. I just thought it was funny.
How min-6? It's min-4, isn't it? What am I missing?
No, it's for each of the crews revealed. Oh, it's crew.
+1 for each.
I'm so sorry. I thought it was all crews.
No. No. Oh, no, that'd be insane.
That would be insane.
But yeah, like turn 3, there's a real chance this dude does min-4.
Yeah.
Against willpower, and spoiler alert, false witnesses have not lost their aura. So yeah.
Also, they got cheaper.
I think you've... let's bury the frontline headline news. You're absolutely right. All elite minions got 1 soul stone.
Let's go for the important one is the lawyer, because I want to make sure that we talk about the lawyer, because he got violently destroyed in my opinion. Like violently destroyed.
So yeah, Alan Reid. We'll finish off on Alan Reid. I think you've put it beautifully already. He's been streamlined.
Yeah.
Like his play style is still the same. He's lost Startle. You never used it anyway because you put up boring conversation.
Exactly. Or the Derringer. Ooh.
He's lost it. He's lost his Derringer. Okay. Like he still has Nefarious Pact. Like he's gained flexible morality, so the card the card taxes on the opponent rather than on him.
Yep.
He's still the same annoying twat he always was. I still love him. Cool.
Yeah.
Investigators.
And 2-inch melee is much, much more important. Like you said it correctly. It's like 2-inch melee is huge. It's like it is so big. It's so
massive.
Big.
Yep. They've still got the same kind of, if a scheme marker is dropped, do a thing. Before it was, stand back its evidence after resolving 4-inch aura, push a model within 3 of it, 3 inches away from it. Yeah. That's been streamlined pretty much to after a scheme marker is dropped within 6, push a friendly model up to 3 inches towards it. It's slightly simpler.
But let's just be honest. Really, he got verbal abuse, which is the same thing that dude got. And that's basically it. That ain't a leap.
Oh, I disagree with you, sir.
You don't think that the leap and the verbal abuse are like the huge things about the investigator?
No, I don't.
Wow.
I do agree with you. The half leap, the 3-inch place is very good. Like I do like that. I do love that verbal abuse is they've got a 2-inch melee. Surprise shot, I don't care.
Correct.
But then I always say, like, when you're playing guild, sometimes you just have a gun, and sometimes having a gun is good. It's nice that I sometimes have a gun, but I'm not. That's fine.
Yeah, it's a bad gun,
the witness,
but it is a gun.
But it is a gun. That's it. Sometimes you just need to do 1 point of damage to kill a model. Leading the witness, fine. Same with the scribe. The big thing for me is set up for success. So after this model resolves an attack action targeting an enemy model within 2 inches of a scheme marker, it may draw a card. You don't have to hit. This just means that investigators can go, I shoot you, I draw 2 cards.
Okay.
And that is, I think you're going to see, not only are you going to see investigator builds, I think you're going to see double investigator builds. I think you're going to see Cavatica investigators paired together for exactly this reason of just investigators are where your card draw comes from now. Now, if you want to be drawing 5 to 6 cards a turn, and drawing 5 to 6 cards a turn is very nice, but it doesn't guarantee you anything. This is the model that allows you to do that. I think setup for success is a big deal because win, lose, or draw, I'm drawing a card as long as I've targeted something next to a scheme marker, and I should be able to target something next to a scheme marker because I'm dropping them already. It doesn't remove that scheme marker. It doesn't exhaust a resource. I just draw a card. So Lucius can make him. Lucius can use his fast action to make this guy take an action, which, whether it hits or not, draws me a card. And it doesn't say it has to be surprise shot. It could be leading the witness to push models around.
Yeah.
Like, I think set up for success, whilst I entirely agree with you, verbal abuse and half leap are really, really good.
Yeah.
Set up for success is a big deal.
I think, I mean, two completely different and opposite things, but like, hey, I think this model, because the thing is, like, he's way too squishy. Like, if he had any other form of like reduced damage or whatever, then I agree with you. But like right now, he's just a fast-ish 6-point model that has some very hard to deal with triggers. Like, You're Coming With Me is a very good trigger, and you can do it on friendly models as well. Again, we'll see. Well, lawyers.
I mean, if we'll get to lawyers in just a second, I promise. Like, if squishiness is a problem, put a coat on him, and he'll have armor 1 and shielded 2 every turn.
On a 6-point model that doesn't do anything.
It does do stuff. It draws cards, and it moves my models around.
Okay. I mean, I guess.
Guild lawyers. Guild and Neverborn have lost their tools for the job model. That's the headline news.
So sad. So sad. They lost so much. They lost so much.
This is a completely different model.
Yeah, they took a lawyer out back, shot him in the head, and then brought another guy and said, "This is a lawyer." This is. I
mean, you're not wrong. You're not. They lost a bay. They lost tools for the job, which means the faction lost tools for the job. Sorry, Dashel. Yeah. And they also lost Chatty, which I think is quite significant.
Yes. Yes, it is.
And like, pour one out. Have a moment of silence. Like, the guild lawyer is dead. Long live the guild lawyer. And I'm sure this is like, I've not checked a weird place. I've not checked the weird Discord. I'm sure this is headline news that that the guild lawyer has lost, as you quite rightly said, so much.
Yeah.
But what does it have?
I mean, the things it does have is he gets to kill somebody by, being killed. That's it. That's the only thing that I saw that was like any worth in this card for a 5-point model.
Well, maybe because he doesn't build the suit in. So yeah, he has balancing the scales. The same defensive trigger that the Scales of Justice has, and the Jury has. I want to say.
I think. Well, the point is, if you do damage to him, and I have this trigger, you take the same amount of damage. And he also has objection, which is if you cheat, for every time you cheat, you suffer 1 damage, and it's not limited to once per duel. So
no, it's not once. Yeah.
If you cheat multiple times in the same duel, you also take multiple forms of damage. So what I'm saying is, if anybody attacks the lawyer and they want to really kill him, if you get unlucky, in your focus attack and you have to cheat, that's a damage. If you hurt him, if you're about to hit him, I just can cheat any mask, and you're gonna suffer the same fate. So I'm just saying, this model is 5 points.
No. But what does it do? It still has sharp wit. It's lost the mental trauma trigger. Fine, you're not throwing him into a fight anyway.
Yeah. He still has surge and impassioned defense. It's a thing.
He still has surge and impassioned defense. He still has quick reflexes on impassioned defense.
Yep.
And he can now build the suits in that he wants via Co-Conspirator, which is the same thing the Scribe has, rather than tools for a job. So you can still get your card draw or multiple incidences of shielded out with him.
Yep.
What he does have that I think is good is Belabor the Point, which is an 8-inch range, drop a scheme marker into base contact with either an elite or mimic model.
Yes.
In a keyword that wants to be getting out as many scheme markers as possible, both to score points and to flip their upgrades, having something like this is going to be useful situationally. And situational is not a dirty word.
Well, in a less specific way, you can also score points with this model by just dropping scheme markers on friendly models. So if 100%. You just want to use them for that instead of just, you have a scheme marker for X or Y reason, that's a thing. Because he can score protected territory if you get 2 models past the midline on turn 2, and then he just targets them, and because of distance alone, he doesn't have to be anywhere near the fight. He just has to be within 8 inches of the front line.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of schemes like that. So he's another way of scoring in snare. If you have 2 models in the center line, you can drop a scheme marker off each of them for a say. For espionage, if he's stood on the halfway line in any deployment apart from corner, map and model placement dependent, he can interact to drop a scheme marker on the halfway line and then belabor the point on one of your models, probably a changeling or something in the opponent's deployment line to cough out another scheme marker.
Or
that's espionage scored. Or your master. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, like, the dude has uses, but I can appreciate that Guild have lost their tools for the job model. Neverborn have lost their tools for the job model. Outcasts now have more tools for the job models than both Guild and Neverborn combined.
Yeah.
I don't think tools for the job makes you an auto-take model. Hello, Hog Whisperers.
Correct.
But it's good, and now it's not there. I genuinely think that Dasher 1 loses out more than Lucius does in the lawyer changes, because I think the new guild lawyer does at least support the playstyle that Mimic Elite wants to be doing. You're never going to see these guys out of keyword ever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing. Just because exactly what you say, I just want to point out to the listeners, I agree with you. Because he's still a usable model in the keyword. He's just lost a bunch of jobs outside of the keyword. Yeah.
He's not what he was.
I don't think there's a reason to ever bring him out of keyword now, like, at all.
No, because the big thing he does is belabor the point, and that's keyword locked.
Exactly.
if you're bringing him out of keyword, realistically, you're bringing him for impassioned defense, and that's not worth 6 soulstones. Exactly. There's better ways of getting shielded, and that's leadline coat. False witness.
I think got better and cheaper,
and kept the same health. Mm-hmm. Like, so all of the elite minions are a stone cheaper, but for whatever reason, the false witness is still 5 health. So it has more health than cost, which is great.
Which is sad for the investigator, because like the false witness actually has a job, in my opinion.
I think the false witness is really good. For its cost, grading on a curve.
It is exactly what you just said. It is because of its cost. And because of false claim. Like, you put those 2 things together, and this model is insane for 4 points.
And I think it's good in both of its keywords as well. Now, you had Ben on to talk about how he plays Lucy 2, which was really interesting because he made heavy abuse of the adversary journalist or adversary elite condition on Jakuz. That is now just a flat adversary enemy. Mm-hmm. So that playstyle that Ben talked about beating up your own models for card draw through coordinated attack is gone.
Boo.
Where this is good, yes, it was a very not a playstyle that had ever occurred to me, but I appreciate the thought that Ben had put into it. Where this is great is its adversary enemy, which means when I bring the Lone Marshal and the Pale Rider, they're getting pos flips.
That is very true. In Nelly, that is huge, because you get to do...
The guild doesn't really have S-tier masters, and in my opinion, like, Lucy 2 was the S-tier master. I think Lucy 2 is now like an A+.
I think
guild does have...
I think the guild has had S-tier masters that just keep nerfed, because like
I mean currently.
Marshall. Oh, okay, yeah. If you mean currently, yeah, you're right.
I think currently the guild can aspire to an A+. What the guild does have is S-tier versatiles.
Fair.
Like Pale Rider, Brutal Emissary, all of those guys, they're absolutely fantastic models. And so a 4 Soulstone model that hands out adversary enemy at 8 inches is going to turn on the likes of the Lone Marshal, the Pale Rider, whatever you're a Peacekeeper, whatever your versatile beta of choice that you've brought in, these guys make better, and that's cool. Cry for attention, handing out distracted, and potentially moving models around. We've already said that both flexible morality and Inhuman Physiology are better when stacked with other forms of layered defense. Here's that distraction. That's great. False claim good. Don't need to spend any more time on that. Like, it's been good all this time.
Yeah, I mean, tell no lies is kind of weird, but honestly, false claim, that's it. False claim and GOQs. Those are the two things that I see this model is like, he has a job, and he's 4 points. Like, that's insane.
I actually think Tell No Lies is going to be better in journalists, because he can just hang around at the back with the Nightcrawler network, and then every single duel that the Nightcrawler network makes through its camera bots, he's cheating second. That model got more cancerous. We did it.
Oh God, I forgot about that. You're not wrong, and it's so sad. Why? It's only 4 points, guys. It's only 4 points for cancer.
And it's a 6-inch aura. It's big. You look at other models that do comparable things, like the Mysterious Effigy and Emissary, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. 3-inch aura.
And you have to flip for it.
Pride puts it up, has to flip for it. This guy, 1 AP, here we go, 6-inch aura. That's real good.
It is.
And if you do want to get him in the fight, he still has that distraction. Neg flips to enemy models have neg flips to willpower duels.
Oh, he's gonna
as you pointed out earlier,
he's gonna go down to a focus attack from like most models in the game. Let's just be honest.
Oh, 100%.
But he is a 4-point model that doesn't have to be anywhere near the fight just to be like useful. That's the thing that I just find insane.
He's real good. For his cost, he's real good.
Exactly.
Cool. That's all of the elite models. Let's go on to mimics.
I mean, mimics are in a better place in my opinion, so this should be a lot happier.
And I think it is worth couching this by saying Klaus Norwood and Crookskin completely untouched. Like, they're exactly the same as they were before. Keep using them. Klaus is great. Crookskin, I'm not convinced about.
Yeah,
I've not put them on the table enough.
I'm sad that I didn't see a Hildy change to a mimic. That was very sad. Hildegard,
yeah, like if Hildegard had gained the mimic keyword, I wouldn't have been surprised or cross. But I also think that Hildegard is a nice thing as a bonus for running Lucius in Neverborn.
Okay.
Like, just because I run it, I've like when I run Lucius in Neverborn, I swapped out the Guild Mage for Hildegard to get rid of that focus. So it's nice for Neverborn to have something that's their own. So I'm not mad about it.
I don't think you're gonna see Hildegard ever again, though. That's the main reason why I'm upset.
No, that's a fair point. Doppelganger lost manipulative, gained Inhuman Physiology. I like manipulative, but it's that same thing of if my opponent wants to put if an opponent wants to put resources into it, they can get rid of it.
I think manipulative sucks.
The big fair. The big thing for me, I think, is like blend in. They've made it so that either Lucius can make them take it, because you can either have it as an AP or as a fast action. Mm-hmm. So either Lucius can obey the Doppelganger to blend in, which gives it concealment, which makes it better with Inhuman Physiology, as I talked about. Mimic is the same, stat 7 gloriousness with the mental trauma trigger. I love this.
Very, very important to mention this from the blend in. She gains that aspect. Even if you're in base to base, you cannot do actions that are range. Even I'm not talking about guns. I'm talking about like attacks like
spells.
Yeah, exactly. Because the thing is, she still would be in negatives even though you're in base to base because she's not on a piece of terrain.
Yep,
and
exactly.
In Human Physiology,
you are gaining concealment.
Correct.
You are gaining concealment, not concealing. There is a difference between the two.
And you're not.
And it took me a while to realize that.
Yeah, and the stones. That's the thing. You can't use stones against this. You can't use focus against this. You are just basically at a negative, and you just have to accept it.
Yeah. That's the thing. Inhuman Physiology needs something else, and this is something else. Also, the good thing about her losing manipulative is she's no longer activation locked. Like it's not part of that activation puzzle that Mimic Elite had a tendency to be previously. She still has a stat 7 mimic. Other people will talk about mimicking the Gatling gun or the
I mean,
Lone Marshal or the
anything
Pale Rider.
that targets size actually is significantly more.
That is still the best thing for me,
Yeah.
is targeting,
Up
like
we go.
mimicking the Pine Box or Up We Go or the Brutal Emissaries Berry, because that's a 2-inch range.
Correct.
Anything like stat 7 versus size. I've got a card advantage of 5. You're going in the box.
Yeah.
But the thing I will continue to mimic most of all will be my own attack. So before she had Staggering Punch, which was a range 0, stat 5. She now has a Dagger-like Claw, which is range 1, stat 5, so she has an engagement range. We've talked about this already with Alan Reid and the Investigators, how significant that is.
Mm-hmm.
She can mimic her own attack to make her own attack stack 7. You have a stack 7 attack with a 2-3-5 damage track with the same... It's the same attack that Lucius has, literally.
Yes.
Like, it's a stat 7, 2-3-5 with pos flips if a Legalese upgrade has been flipped, which you're going to be gunning for. You don't have the crit strikes, you don't have the ignore hard to kill or demise trigger, but you do have a reposition trigger. I think the Doppelganger is a real model now, and whilst I was like a Doppelganger apologist beforehand, taking her mainly for like the Don't Mind Me and stuff like that, I think other better players than me will now be taking her as well.
I mean, she has a leap. That is insane. I mean, it's a very specific type of leap, but it's still a leap.
The reposition triggers?
No, blend in. That's insane.
Oh, it's a place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely missed that.
Oh yeah.
And it's an unresisted leap
Mm-hmm.
on a 4 that doesn't need to target an enemy model. You're very true. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real good.
It's a conditional leap, but my God, is it good? Because like it's unsuited, which is the same reason like the half leap that we were talking about with the Investigators is also unsuited. Like it has a trigger, but like all these leaps don't require a suit, even though that they're slightly worst.
Yeah. And yeah, I'd completely missed the place. Good call out. That's very significant. Yeah, she's a real model.
Yeah.
And if you're copying a great sword, you leap into base to base with something. Copy a great sword. I got a stat 7 great sword with a 3-4-5 damage track with pos flips because I haven't charged.
Also, she's great with both masters because both masters can obey blend in, which is huge.
Can obey the blend in.
Yeah.
Which is very, very good. She's going to die to a stiff breeze because like, if she gets hit, she's going down.
Yes.
But you want to do your best to make her not be hit through a combination of concealment and Inhuman Physiology. Yeah, she's a real model.
Yeah,
she's a real model.
She's a mid to late game activation, and she's better with guns. But outside of that, she's very, very strong right now.
Yeah. Talking of real models, White Eyes.
Oh my God, this guy! This is the biggest glow up.
This guy, him and Agent Fasty 6 are the biggest changes into like non-master models. I think.
Yeah,
he's still 7 points. He's still 9 health. He has hard to wound and Inhuman Physiology, so he has that built-in layer of defense that Inhuman Physiology needs, in my opinion. He's got undulation, so that when he's being played and returned, he gets a 3-inch move. He lost stealth,
yes,
and he hasn't got disguised. Like the weird blog is like all mimic models will have disguised. This one doesn't.
Right.
His attack is just the same. We've already talked about how good 2-4-5 as a damage track is. He gains shielded, which is temporary health. He's got a ram trigger for healing. Terrorize no longer has a TN. I think that's significant for unpacking in both Returned and in this. Nowhere to Hide is exactly the same. Inhuman Physiology has gone to a front of card ability, and he now has the same half leaf, but with a built-in trigger to do a point of damage to himself and pulse out 1 damage. Sorry, hard to kill models. And he's got made to kill, so that once per activation, when he is placed, he takes a melee action. So whether you're using his half leap, you're getting 3 attacks, or whether you are turning into White Eyes,
you get a free attack
through the Legalese upgrade.
Oh,
you get 3 attacks out of him. So he's a 3 attack beater at 7 cost that I don't even have to hire, because his big downside is defense 4, and defense 4 only matters if he's on the table to be shot or stabbed. He's real good.
It's shocking how good he became just because of the replacement effect.
Yeah. And that's unlike everything else is just streamlining, but he gaining hard made to kill makes him awesome.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, he has a wombo combo also. If you are to hire him and give him Bloodline Code, he becomes like pretty crazy with the title, because the title can do a bonus action, heal him, also make him use unnatural speed. So like outside of activation, you're placing, doing 1 damage to himself and others, healing 2, so you go and overheal again, move 3 inches, and can swing because of made to kill. Because made to kill goes literally after all of that.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. Like, and I think he's good in returned as well. Like, I think this is a situation where you're going to see him played considerably more in all of his keywords.
Yeah, I mean, and he's a perfect candidate for Bloodline Code.
He's perfect for Bloodline Code. The big disadvantage always of bringing models out of keyword is that their cost is lower than their health. But if you're bringing him out of keyword and Netherborn, he's 8 cost and still 9 health.
Yes.
He's a real model.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how often you would bring him out of keyword in Neverborn. Out of keyword and Neverborn are not my areas of knowledge, but I'm thoroughly impressed by him. I think he's very much a real model, and like he will probably be the model that I transform into most with Take the Stand.
So shockingly, I think this model has a higher chance of me getting him out of keyword than Killjoy, even after the buffs.
I can see that.
Yeah, and it's shocking to say, maybe not in keyword, because like in keyword, for Killjoy, I mean specifically, Killjoy is still very reliant on underbrushes, and he'll have that opportunity. But this guy, obeying him is actually good. Healing him is actually good. And then when he activates, he just does auto ping damage.
He gives himself conditions, which means Pandora 2 can then turn that shielded into focus.
Also true.
Like, I think there's a lot here for people to play with and for people to unlock, which is very, very cool.
Yeah. I mean, the Nowhere to Hide, I think, is a silly action they could have just removed completely, but it's a thing that's in there.
It's a thing. It's on the card. Like, how often it comes up, I'm not sure, but it's I can heal him if I want to.
Yeah.
No. Let's talk about Cavatica.
He got better, and I was already like, this model is insane.
My dude is a lot better. I love this model, and now I have a reason to paint it, which is great. Like, he's lost a lot of complexity.
Yes.
Which I think is good. Like, Unstable Form's gone away, Following Orders has gone away, Arcane Shielded has gone away.
So, funny enough, he lost all but one ability. They changed the order. So he kept Disguise and Superiority Complex, but he lost everything else, and he gained Siphon Power in Inhuman Physiology. That's literally the change.
Siphon Power is massive. It's like having Siphon Power is massive. He still has Creep Along, which is like a strong thing in Cadmus. You're going to see a lot of Creep Along in Cadmus. You see a lot of Creep Along in Explorer Society.
I mean, Siphon
I think
Power
Twisting Mists. Like, Twisting Mist is really, really good because it allows you to heal a model, and it gains an aura of concealing. Again, I'm going to belabor the point. Concealing stacked on top of Inhuman Physiology. When you start layering those defenses, is when these abilities start coming online.
Yes.
But most importantly, is called out. 12-inch range, gone from an 8-inch range to a 12-inch range. Huge. Like 50% range increase, fantastic. Target, the attack action ignores concealment, and then till the end phase, friendly models ignore cover, concealment, and friendly file one targeting the model. Insane. Again, the Pale Rider and the Lone Marshal, thank you for your service.
Yeah. He lost the
there
ability.
There is nowhere to hide.
Well, he lost the ability to give them attacks. I did not notice that.
No, he has lost. He has and he hasn't. It's gone to the Ram trigger again. He has Siphon Power. Fair. So another friendly Elite, Mimic, or Cadmus model may take a non-fast action that does not attach upgrades or list a model targeting the same model. What's nice here is it's not attack, it's any action.
Yeah. But there's a difference, because now you can't take triggers with this, which is huge.
You can't take triggers with this, but what you can do in Cadmus specifically, whilst it's friendly Cadmus models, when they have, with Nexus 1, a Parasite token, they counter as friendly Cadmus, which means that Nexus can ignore concealment when trying to take the exoskeleton communication ability to teleport models around and drop web markers. That's really good for Nexus.
Yes, it is.
For Mimic Elite, that means that the Investigator can start shooting at the model. And again, as we've talked about, if the Investigator resolves an action, doesn't even have to hit, you're drawing cards.
Mm-hmm.
So called out with a ram basically becomes the target can't benefit from cover, concealment, or friendly fire for the rest of the game. Sorry, for the rest of the turn, and I draw a card. I don't know if you do it twice, but it is card draw.
That's fair.
Then you've got the masks for Distracted. Again, Distracted, tacked on Inhuman Physiology, good. Blood loss, fine. I think get in there. Friendly minion within line of sight may push 3 inches towards the target. I think that's far more relevant in Cadmus, where Berserker Husks are a thing.
Yeah.
But I think
that's it.
Cavatica good now in both his keywords. He is good.
I think specifically it's Siphon Power allowing him to pick any trigger is enormous.
Yes. That's where he's good.
Yeah, and in Cadmus, because you have so many targets for your Siphon Power, you can just ping it off of like eyes and ears all the way to the bank.
And that's it. And with just to touch on Cadmus again, obviously you've got all those eyes and ears. They're defense 3. They're really susceptible to blasts. So being able to give all of them concealing through Twirling Mists, and of course that heal can start pinging around all over the place due to We Are Legion. Much like White Eyes, dude does a job in all of his keywords, which I think is really good design. Cool. Changelings.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about what you were saying. Like, I think like the biggest thing is Twisting Mist. That's pretty much it. But that's not bad.
It does cost an AP, but of course that could be Lucius's fast action.
Yeah,
because it's not.
I mean, he gained better triggers, and he gained Siphon Power. I think that's huge.
And the range.
And the range cannot be ignored. He went into from a mid range to a long range caster basically. So yeah, you're right.
Absolutely, and also the fact that friendly fire has been added to the things that the target can no longer benefit from. So Pale Rider, Lone Marshal,
yeah, absolutely.
Whatever gun you want to shoot. It's guild. You've got guns.
Yeah, I mean that used to always be there. But the thing that I'm a little bit sad about is the fact that now you don't get a free attack with a trigger. But it's understandable. Now you don't have to discard a card.
You don't get a free attack with a trigger, but Look Away was locked to non-leader only, correct, whereas Elite Maneuver isn't. So you're getting AP out of Nexus 1 or out of Nexus 1 of Many, whose principal way of putting out Parasite tokens is a ranged attack. Like, turning non-master AP into master AP, good.
Oh, yeah. And again, I think the biggest value he got was Twisting Mist. But everything else we said is a thing that he can do in combat that's actually really, really powerful.
Yeah. Cool. Last model, Changeling.
They got better again.
Did they? They've gone well. Yeah, they've gained a point of defense, and that's I think the best change on their card is that they've gone to defense 5.
They've gone to defense 5. And mathematically, it's better than Heart of Wound. I know we talked about this before, but like he got better.
I think I would have preferred Manipulative.
Manipulative sucks. Like it is terrible.
Manipulative is situational, and I think the scheme runner off in the corner that your opponent has to walk charge to get to. Rather than focus charge to get to, because they couldn't do that, because you usually got an extra turn out of them. Like if someone walks up to them and punches them, they're going to die.
Well, it used to be leap or something related to leap, focus, attacked, and they just died. Now they can't. You have to, unless you have,
and they just did.
Well, unless you have min 4, they're going to survive.
Yeah. Like surprisingly, Yaksha were really good at getting rid of them because they leap into the terrain and focus and punch them.
Can't focus them.
Can't focus. Like you can't charge them because of the skies. I still don't get me wrong. I'm still taking 2 of them 90% of the time. I do think it's interesting. I do think it's interesting that we now have. I'm curious how the Scribe impacts my usual here are 2 changelings, because now having 3 sidekick models feels heavy on the hand.
You do draw a lot,
but that's the thing. I said right at the beginning, 5 to 6 cards.
Mm-hmm.
We said right at the beginning, like most people think they get like 5 to 6 cards out of Lucius on old Lucius.
Yes, old Lucius. You could easily get.
I think you're flipping. You could get loads, but I think old Lucius you're kind of averaging out 5 to 6. At least that's what the poll in the Discord said.
But that is the average.
I think with the legalese upgrades.
Yeah, now you can only get like 2 to 3.
I think you're doing 2 to 3. I think you're doing 1 to 2 legal upgrades a turn for 2 to 3 cards, depending on which upgrades you take.
Right.
Investigators can pull 2 to 4. 0 to 4 cards depending on how many investigators you've got and how many AP you put into it. Cavatica can give you an extra 2. I still think you're hitting that 5 to 6 cards a turn. I don't think the keyword has lost its card draw.
I think so.
It's just getting it in a different way.
Just on the fact that you have to remove scheme markers like we were talking about, and the change in the loop of the keyword, I'd say so. I'd say that we lost. Like we're drawing between 2 to 3 cards a turn. If we're doing the schemes correctly.
That's it. Like I think it's kind of like we've gone through all the cards. Like I said, Klaus and Crookskin are exactly the same, so there's no point touching them.
I mean, you're gonna have Klaus in the game because of Changelings, because they're gonna be replacing into him.
Yeah. I think you're comfortable on stuff on Cloak and Plant Explosives.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you go Reid, but like I said earlier on, I think both Guild and Neverborn have better options for Reid anyway. That's fine. Yeah. I think as a whole, Lucy 2's come down a bit. Lucy 1's gone up a bit. Gone up quite a bit, in fact. And the keyword as a whole has had a general lift. I think all of these redesigned models that are in other keywords, be that Journalist or Cadmus or Return, have been beautifully designed. Because I think they're going to work really well wherever you put them. I'm very happy with this keyword rework. I know you